Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Aaron and today I would like to talk about phrasal verbs and more specifically the grammar of phrasal verbs. So stay tuned. So first off, this is a lesson for intermediate language learners, those learners who learn English as a second language. I hope you can make good use of that. So, phrasal verbs it is. Let's get started. So what are phrasal verbs? Phrasal verbs are normal words like get, take, put, and they are followed by a preposition, actually a particle, which is a preposition and an adverb, but just we say particle. So we can say get on, get off, get by, get across, get on with, get down to, get up to. These phrasal verbs are all different words. So a good piece of advice, you should learn them as separate vocabulary items because the meanings can be completely different. Actually, just because you know the main verb, get, it doesn't mean that you know the phrasal verb. Now we have understood what phrasal verbs are, let's get on with the classifications of phrasal verbs. So first we have to get to know what transitive and non-transitive phrasal verbs are. Transitive, non-transitive, these are very classy expressions, but actually they refer to very simple ideas. If a phrasal verb is non-transitive, it means that the phrasal verb doesn't take an object. It doesn't have an object or it doesn't need an object in order to have the meaning complete. So it's completely okay without the somebody or the something after the verb. Definitely the transitive phrasal verbs need an object. It's a must. It's not going to be optional. So make it clear that intransitive phrasal verbs, there could be an object after the verb, but it's not a must. It's just optional. So here's an example. For example, check in. When you say check in, it means you go to the hotel reception and tell the person that you have arrived. So what's the man doing? He's checking in. Check in is a non-transitive verb, which means you don't have to say check in something or the sentence is completely good without the something, the what. Another example is come in. Come in means arrive. For example, a train. What's happening in the picture? You can see a train that is just coming in. It is just arriving. I didn't say the train is coming in something or somebody. The sentence is good without an object. That's why come in is an intransitive phrasal verb. Let's say the phrasal verb show up. It is also a non-transitive phrasal verb. It means arriving in a place where someone is waiting for you. So what's happening? There are some guests and they have just arrived at a party. They have just shown up. Here's another non-transitive phrasal verb. Look up. In this meaning, look up means get better. Usually we talk about a business or a situation that is getting better and you can say things are looking up. So why is the man smiling? Perhaps he's smiling because the business is looking up. Now, let's talk about transitive phrasal verbs. As I have just mentioned, transitive phrasal verbs must have an object. It's not an option, it's a must. You really have to use the something or the somebody in order to make the meaning complete. So here's the phrasal verb, for example, write something down. You really have to use the something, otherwise the meaning is not okay. You cannot say, I wrote down. You wrote down what? I wrote down the address. I wrote down the phone number, but I cannot say I wrote down because the object is missing. That's why it is a transitive phrasal verb. By the way, write something down is a separable phrasal verb. There are separable and non-separable phrasal verbs. Write something down is a separable phrasal verb because you can say write something down and you can also say write down something. You can change the order of the words. Both versions are good. When you say try something on, which means put on a piece of cloth to see if it fits or it looks good on you, You can also say try on something, which means try on something, try something on. This phrasal verb is also a transitive phrasal verb. So what's the man doing? He's trying on a suit, or he's trying a suit on. Now let's take a look at the verb lookup. Previously, we have mentioned lookup as a non-transitive phrasal verb, where the verb didn't take an object. And now let's talk about lookup as a transitive phrasal verb with completely different meaning. So when I say look something up, it means I try to find some information in a book or online. What are the child and the teacher doing? They are looking up something in a book. Or else, it happens a lot of times that I don't know something, I have to look it up online using Google. When you make something up or make up something, you invent a story or an explanation for something. Here's a man and he doesn't want to go into the building, let's say. Maybe he doesn't want to work. Maybe he doesn't want to talk to his boss. He's trying to come up with a good excuse and voila, it seems that he has made up an excuse. He has invented it. It seems it's a good one. So with the transitive separable phrasal verbs, we can put the object before or after the particle. So I can say, I wrote down his address or I wrote his address down. Both are acceptable, both are good. However, when I want to use a long object, for example, I wrote down everything he told me, then I don't have a choice. I really have to put the object after the particle. Here, there's no choice. Also, there's a restriction when I use the object pronoun as the object. So me, you, him, her, it, us, you, them. I also have a fixed order, even with the separable transitive phrasal verbs. So I wrote it down. He picked me up. He called me up. There's no other way. On the other hand, inseparable phrasal verbs are phrasal verbs where the order is fixed. So I cannot put the object before or after the particle. There's only one way possible, as you can see it in the dictionary. Come across somebody or come across something. It is always this order. So you cannot say come somebody across or come something across. Come across is an inseparable phrasal verb. So let's take a look at the examples. Look into is an inseparable phrasal verb. The literal meaning is what you can see right now. The man is looking into the microscope, but there is another idiomatic or figurative meaning. Investigate something. Try to discover the facts about something. So the man is investigating or looking into an important scientific matter right now. Look at this guy. Probably he should try to cut back on junk food, or he should try to cut back on carbs. Cut back on something is also an inseparable phrasal verb, meaning reducing the amount of something that you eat, spend or use, or etc. We have to say, he should cut back on junk food. It's incorrect to say he should cut junk food back on. The only option that is possible is he should cut back on junk food. There are lots of other transitive, non-separable phrasal verbs, like come across someone or come across something. If you come across someone in the street, you meet the person by chance. Or if you come across something, it means that you find something by chance. You didn't want to find that, it just happened. For example, I came across an old book in my grandmother's attic. Or you can say stand for. Stand for means mean, represent. So what does BBC stand for? BBC stands for British Broadcasting Corporation. So that's all about the phrasal verb. In a nutshell, we learned about phrasal verbs. We know what transitive and non-transitive phrasal verbs are. We also know that transitive phrasal verbs could be subdivided into separable and non-separable phrasal verbs. We can say write something down or write down something, but only write it down. If it's non-separable, then we can say he should cut down on junk food, and that's the only way possible. With intransitive phrasal verbs, the object is not necessary. It can be there, and many times it is there, but it is simply not a must. I hope I could help some people out there with their phrasal verbs. I do understand that English phrasal verbs are very difficult. There are thousands of them. There are lots of meanings, literal meanings, figurative, idiomatic meanings, lots of them. It is just a whole bunch of mess. Sometimes we English learners feel this way. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you think that you learned something from it, please consider clicking on the subscribe button, and you may as well like it. Thank you very much again, and until next time, see you later. Bye bye.